Oh, number 14, it's here. All right, let's do it. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you. It's me, it's Paul Carpenter, and this is episode 14, and my friends, it's gonna be a doozy. Today, I have a podcaster, a motivational speaker, absolute gem of a human being. His name is Jay Reckless. He will be on very soon. Hopefully he pops on here, and as soon as he does, we're going to do this. I'm so excited to have him. From what I understand, this will be the first time that he ever has been interviewed, even though he has a podcast. It says couldn't join because of technical issues. Here we go. Maybe, and this has happened in the past, maybe Jay, if you could, if you're still watching, if you could pop off and jump on with your phone. I'm not sure if it'll work if you're on a computer, or maybe even your iPad. Sometimes it messes. It's Facebook. Yeah, I see that you're here, but it's not allowing me to let you join. It's saying that your camera isn't connected in some way, shape, or form, something to that effect. So if you could jump off and then maybe jump back on with your phone, that's probably going to be the best way to do this. At least that's what's happened in the past. I've seen that happen. Let's see what happens here in a moment. But nonetheless, like I was saying, I am very excited to have Jay on. Here he is, and he popped back in. I'm adding him on. Yes, this is going to be a good episode. I'm so excited. This man right here, every single one of his posts is about pushing, grinding, going out there and getting what you want, doing what you want, creating your own content. All of that. There he is. What's good, man? Good, man. Good to see you. Good to have you on. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sure this is going to be kind of a fun experience for you as well, because you're always on the other side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for those of you who are watching who don't know who you are, fill us in. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got to be Jay Reckless, and how you are the character you are, and all that stuff. Please. And thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. It's definitely an honor to be on here. I'm originally from New York. I live in Houston, Texas. My podcast is the Reckless Talk Podcast. I'm based out of Houston, like I said. It's all about promoting small businesses, entrepreneurs, artists, anybody that has a good story to tell. I just had an author on recently. I have all different type of people, from celebrities to authors, professional baseball players. It's an honor. It's an honor. Now, how did I start my podcast? Man, you want the long version or the short version? I used to. Your mic is silent.
Yeah, I turned it off because I want to hear you, and I don't want any of the background noise. What I was saying was my last pod was like 3 hours long, so we can go as long as you want. Right, I don't care.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so I used to live stream. I'm not gonna say the app it was because they don't pay us. I used to live stream on his app, and I think within the first 3 months, I've gained like over 700 followers, and I made really good money on this app. And one day, I used to have anywhere between 100 to 400 or 500 people at a time in my live streams, and we just bullshit, talk about whatever, And somebody came in my stream one day. They didn't have no profile picture or nothing. It just said Kelly on it, right? And they're like, "Hey, Jay, I'm gonna message you. It's nothing funny, nothing like that." And I'm like, "No, you're not." Because when people say nothing funny, it'd be some weird, funny stuff, right? So I'm like,
exactly. Like, hey, no offense, but right, got it.
So they keep going at it and keep pushing me to the point where I felt like they were trying to purposely get on my nerves, right? So I got all my regulars in there. We're all talking, listening to music. I also did I used to have a segment called it's just based on Sunday mornings. I used to do gospel, play gospel music and stuff from 8 to noon. So I had a bunch of people in there, and then so he kept pushing it, and I was like, you know what? Let me play along with this, right? Whatever. And he was like telling me he's a talent agent. He produced movies in Hollywood and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, right? But I played along with it, and sent me his information, right?
It sounds like the Bollywood scam in India, where tourists are just there and they're white, and that person comes up and goes, "You'd be amazing in a movie.
Yes.
Come
Exactly.
to the audition." And you're like,
Exactly.
full on.
Man, definitely. So he sent me the information, and I'm looking, and he mentions it. Kind of finds it's an older black gentleman, and he mentions that he used to work for Revolt TV, and at the time I had a cousin that worked for Revolt TV. So I messaged my cousin while I'm live, because you can send me your website and it can still be a scam, like you said, right? So I messaged my cousin while I'm live, and before I can actually I called him, and before I could finish his name, my cousin goes, "Oh yeah, Kelly, the old black bald-headed guy. He's a real good dude. He's legit. Why? What's up, cuz?" So see how your face is? That was my face. I was like,
I'd be like, "Oh shit!"
Wow. You know what I mean? So here I am trying to put him on blast and call him out, and this dude's legit, right? So it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so good.
And this is way before I even had my podcast. Like I wasn't even thinking about having a podcast at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me see what this dude's about. So I called him whatever when I finished my stream. And big shout out to Mr. Kelly, man. He's done a lot of big movies in Hollywood. He now went independent, and it's funny you mentioned Bollywood because he just finished promoting or producing a Bollywood film, independent Bollywood film.
And the only reason I mentioned it was because last night I watched some TV show that's from England. It's about scams, and this guy travels to all these different countries, and he goes to India and he gets scammed. Like he purposely gets scammed, right? That's his.
Yeah.
But he gets scammed in a Bollywood thing where they're like, "Yeah, pay us $1,000, we'll take your pictures and this, that, and the other." It's almost the same thing as what they do in the United States, Casablanca.
Yeah.
Not
you're definitely right.
Because I'm sure there's been good.
I reach out to him, I call him, and he tells me he's a talent agent, movie producer, this and that, and he told me he said, "I've been coming into your streams for the past 3 months." He said, "I never said anything until today." He said, I watch you. He said, "I have a talent." He said, "I'm a talent agent." He said, "You should start a podcast and turn it into a talk show and interview people." And I'm like, really? Nah, not me, right? Not little old Jay, right? And he said with him watching me, he said, "You have a talent and you don't even realize it." He said, "And you have a natural born talent, something that can't be taught." He said, "The way you talk to people, the way you interact with people, the way you converse with people," he said, "it's amazing." He said, "It doesn't matter if it's man, woman, gay, straight, trans, whoever it is, you're welcoming, you're entertaining." He was like, "If you notice, I was trying to get on your nerves and see how you were reacting." He said, you handled it so professionally. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Go ahead and start a podcast." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I start my YouTube channel.
This is so funny, bro.
I start my YouTube channel, and I started it, and then once I put it up and everything, I literally didn't put an episode out probably for 4 months. I was nervous. You know what I mean? It was like uncharted territory.
Right,
So,
right. That's so funny because yesterday the episode was it doesn't have to be perfect; it just has to get done.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was because I tried to have a guest on yesterday, and the same thing happened. The computer tried to work and he couldn't get it on, and so he canceled with me. He's like, "Yo, we'll do it next time." And then I just was like, "Oh man, episode 13, damn it." And then all of a sudden I was like, no, bro, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just go live. Just keep moving.
Yep.
And that happened. And then a friend of mine from Israel popped up, and then he ended up becoming the episode. And it was
I seen it. I liked it. I liked it. I definitely liked it.
And so, and so that alone, and just being able to do what we're doing right now, I don't know if you watched before, but I did like a daily talk, if you will, for 365 days, and I did it twice because I missed 3 days on the first time trying, and I was upset. I was like, I only did 362, like as if that's not enough, right? I didn't miss a day. And so I was like, I wonder if I could do that with a podcast. I wonder if I could go live every day and find somebody who wants to go live. And it's been a guessing game, but then slowly my calendar starts to fill in, and it's so dope. You're like, yo, this is actually cool. And people are wanting to see it. And and the views have gone from 70 something to 100 something to 400 something, and I was like, oh man, this is working. This is actually a thing. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting when you create something and people come to watch it and want to know more. So to go into that thing that you started the podcast, you did your YouTube channel, does this guy come back?
I'm in contact with him. I stay in contact with him. I actually look up to him. Got a lot of respect for him. If it wasn't for him, none of this would be happening. We wouldn't be sitting here. You know what I mean? Everything that happened that come with having a podcast. You know what I mean? He'll actually be on my podcast pretty soon. We're gonna tell my story.
So he's been your mentor, basically.
Yeah. Ever since, he's an amazing dude.
I have a weird kind of a story like that. I was doing Kick, not the new Kick where Fusi's going crazy, but the old Kick, which is the app that people are talking on, and they have live streams there. So I was like, one day I was like, man, I'm gonna start doing my live stream, and this is when I was doing my 365. So I would go live on Kick and just leave it there as I was recording. Because that's what a lot of people do. They just leave while you're doing something, and then people just.
That's actually the app I was using.
Oh, okay. And I was doing really well, blowing up on Kick. And this one guy who's an artist out of New York, he contacted me, became friends with me on Facebook, and was like, "Yo, dude, I want to use you in one of my art pieces. Would you mind doing modeling?" Naked modeling, and I'm like, fuck, I'm totally in. I've never done that before, and he paid me, and I was like, yeah, well, and we're doing it on video. It's not like I'm in the same room with the guy, and not that I would care either way, but it was such a cool experience to go and put yourself out there, and then just the most random thing to pop in. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, and I think that's part of what this is. Right? Part of this is let's share a story together. I want to hear how it is that you do what you do, and what are the pitfalls of a podcaster and being a motivational speaker, and all these things that you do. And I say, what are the pitfalls? Because for anybody else who might be watching who'd be like, oh, I want to know how he did it. How did he get started? And the answer is, bro, I just picked up a camera, turned on live, and
that's really how it is. That's really how it is. All right, so to break it down for everyone watching in the future. All right, so really the advice I would give, and this is the advice I'm giving, is the advice I took. Just pick up that camera and hit start, hit play, and put it on your show. So, for example, for me, like you said, we talked this morning. You had a guest that canceled on you this morning, right? My very first episode, because how I started and I still do today, I like to build a rapport with my guests. I talk to them, a few days prior, a week prior, just to build that relationship, to be comfortable with each other. And when I first started, I was just on YouTube. I'm on 3 platforms now. I'm on YouTube Music, and Facebook, and soon to be other platforms. So all my episodes are live. So when I'm live on all 3 episodes. I'm on all 3 platforms. So my very first episode, I'm in contact with this dude, hip hop artist out of New York, and literally 30 minutes prior to this episode, he stops responding, right? So my thing is, I gotta put an episode. I promoted this. I promoted. And that's another thing, guys. Promotion, self-promotion. There's no better thing than self-promotion at all. No better than self-promotion. So I had to put on the show, like you said, press play, you know. And big shout out to the Let's Talk About It podcast, Jamel Lewis. He hopped on and he co-hosted and helped me through it. You know what I mean? My first episode, and it went good. I was nervous as hell, but we did it. You know what I mean? But my podcast, like I said, it's all about promoting small businesses, entrepreneurs, artists. You know, anybody that got a good story to tell. Yeah, just go out and get it, man. Don't. When I started, I had literally had 20 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and that's friends and family, so that really don't count, right? So if you're just starting and you watch podcasts and you see these podcasters with 100,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, look at Mr. Beast, 1 million subscribers. Don't let that deter you. You know what I mean? We're starting from scratch. They already had a platform and a following. You know what I mean? So when you're starting from scratch, it's gonna take a long time for the numbers to hit. You know what I mean? Like my first episode didn't hit 100 views for like 3 months. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I didn't let it deter me, but I was putting out episode after episode. I do 3 episodes a week. At one point, I was doing 4 or 5 episodes a week. You know?
Right. And I'm trying
so
to do one daily. I'm trying to do.
You can do it, man. You can do it. It's a hustle.
The mindset is this, right? It's if I can get a different person on every day, that's 365 people that I've promoted that are promoting that video, period. Because they're going to promote that. If the interview goes somewhat well, they're going to grab that video, they're going to make some kind of clip out of it, and they're going to promote, hey, I was on this show. And that is enough, right? As far as I'm concerned, it'd be great to make a ton of money. It'd be great to do this. It'd be great to do that, and so on and so forth. But if I can inspire one person to start their own show or to start their own thing or to create their own art, something, because I keep saying, I get really deep in the conversations I have, but I've been saying, like, look at where we're headed. We're headed to a place with everybody getting a certain amount of money every month. Nobody has a job. There's robots everywhere. Where does that leave you? Like, where are you at within that puzzle? And if you don't have like a creator mindset, then all you're going to do is just be like a consumer of everybody else's stuff. And it's fine. That's okay. If you want to just be consumer, be consumer. You don't want to have your face on camera, don't have your face on camera. But it's going to be a totally different life.
Yeah.
You know, I think that those who are willing to do this are like a step above those who don't. And I'm not saying that in a negative mindset. I'm just saying that that's just the way things are. Like, people are going to end up. There's a very famous guy. Well, I don't know if you want to call him super famous, but there's a great documentary, and I talk about him a lot. His name is Josh Harris. And the documentary that they made about him was called We Live in Public. And he shows a dystopian future. Sort of kind of like the Black Mirror episode where the guy falls in love with the girl and they're riding bicycles to get energy. I don't know if you've ever seen this one. And he lives inside of a cube and they make him watch porn.
I know you're talking about. I just seen that movie, man, not even a month ago. Not even a month ago, and the whole thing is to try to get famous and this and that, and
then he grabs and he starts getting angry, and then at the end, that's what his job ended up being, was that he's the angry guy with the knife, and he lives in this beautiful pad.
Yeah,
we're kind of headed towards that kind of ideology. Josh talks about the evolution of toothpaste. It's a really cool talk that he did on YouTube, like a TED Talk kind of thing, and he's like, look, in the future, everything's going to be sponsorships. So you'll get like sponsored by Colgate, so you don't have to pay for your Colgate, but then daily you have to be like, yo, I use Colgate to get your Colgate. But then there's going to be people who take that to the entertainment level, and then they might, like, you know how you ever seen I know this is like a weird analogy, but have you ever seen how people make coffee and make it into like an art form where every shot is beautiful and like the turn? Somebody will do that with toothpaste, is what he's getting at, right? So that we'll all end up having like every room of our house will end up becoming its own version of a studio. Like my bed is a studio, my bathroom's a studio, my shower is a studio, my kitchen is a studio, and I'm chasing after being on the mothership, as he calls it, which is in essence what we're chasing after right now, right? We're all chasing to be the next Joe Rogan, podcast or whatever.
That's an amazing podcast. Big shout out to Joe Rogan.
Huge shout out to Joe Rogan and all of the stuff that he's really kind of, in essence, kind of blossomed from him, right? And also, what was this other gentleman who used to be on MTV, who's like the grandfather of podcasting, who's been on his show a couple times? We stand on the shoulders of giants, as they say. People who have already done this, even if we're just now doing it, like they've already done some major things and also shown us, again, the pitfalls of what could go wrong and what not to do. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So with that, what are, if you don't mind, what are some of the things that you struggle with to get more, acknowledgement of what you're doing?
That's a good question. Wow. I wouldn't say I struggle with it now, but like when I first started, it's hard, and this is some advice I'm gonna give to everyone watching in the future. It's hard to get subscribers and get followers and have people watch you when you first start out, especially if you don't have a big following. So I just promoted and promoted and promoted. I promoted so much one time for this one event I had that my Facebook page got like I got put in Facebook jail for like 3 hours.
I did, like, you've been posting too much.
Spam. You know what I mean? So once I learned this whole promotion deal, like it just flows. It flows from there. But that was my biggest thing. Learning how to promote at first, right. And then another thing. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll ask you afterwards. Good.
Another thing with me, what I realized, try to have your channel or your platform on as many platforms as possible. You know what I mean? Like I said, I started out on YouTube, but now I'm on 3 platforms. You know what I mean? So I went from watching, so perfect example, I did an episode the other day. On Facebook, I'm at like 300 views, right? On YouTube, I'm at like 50 views. You know what I mean? And so, but at the same time, I have over 3,000 followers on Facebook and only 285 on YouTube. You know what I mean? So to be on multiple platforms definitely helps. Excuse me.
Now, my question for you was, have you gotten to a place where you are just doing this and not doing anything else, and this is how you make your money? And you're there already? That's so dope. And you don't have not to denounce the following, but you don't have a massive following per se. And from that small amount of following, you found a way to make, let's say, a 6-figure income yearly to where you're more than comfortable and you can keep pushing in the direction of what you were doing in the first place.
It's definitely not 6 figures.
Okay, fine. But you're rounding up to that. That's where you're headed to. And
definitely. So with me, and not to brag, it's just what I do speaks volumes. I've been doing it 7 months. Literally 7 months. I started my podcast. I have 73 episodes. I'm doing my 74th and 75th today and Friday. Like I said, with me being promoting and supporting small businesses, entrepreneurs, and artists, it speaks volumes, it catches attention, and catches eyes. I have a segment called Reckless Reviews where I go to restaurants, I interview the owners, and I do live food reviews. So big shout outs to Something Real Barbecue in Alvin, Texas, 2111 South Gordon Street. They were let me tell you, Another thing, you're gonna get so many no's before you get that one yes. And I reached out to so, and they were like one of my first episodes, like my first 5 to 10 episodes. So and at that time, hardly any followers, and I'm only on YouTube. So when people hear this and see this, they don't want to deal with me. What is somebody with 20 followers gonna do for my business, right? Well, they took a chance with me, and for the longest, they're my #1 leading episode in views, shares, comments.
Wow. That shows everything right there.
It's amazing.
You're inspiring me right now because I'm a level 7 on Google, on Google reviews, and I have, I don't know, almost 7 million views on my posts, and one of them in particular got 3.5 million views on one photo. So that's what literally took me from like level 2 to like level 5 in like 2 seconds. Like it was I didn't even try. But now, if I do a review, and it's really crazy, I've literally changed businesses' lives off of this, right? And I have proof of it, like over and over and over and over again. It's mind-boggling to me. But I was in LA, and I saw this little fruit stand place that does like fruit drinks. Like they mix all the fruits right in front of you. It's nothing frozen. It's all fresh. And there was a small little stand on Hollywood Boulevard, Mexican family trying to just make their money, right? They were just trying to survive. But the place was spotless, and it was clean, and it was just, but it was a tiny little shack door. Like it was, and that's it. And then they were like in the closet, if you will, working in it was that small. And I made a review. It got, I don't know, 100,000 views. And I went back a couple years later, and they now have gone from closet to extension. And they are like this massive business. And I was just like, oh. And when I went back, the guy was like, you. And I was like, he's like, you have no idea, bro, what you've done. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, that one review, bro. Everybody shows us that review. Everybody has shown us that review. That's why they came. And I was like, no way. So then I started having like a bit of a, I know what I'm doing here. I was in Miami, and I did the same thing in Miami. I walked into this guy's store a couple blocks from where I was staying, and it was nothing outside, plain white, with a door that had a bunch of stuff on the window, and it had blinds, so you couldn't even see. Like it just looked like a crazy wannabe store, like a bodega, New York style bodega kind of thing. Like what is that? Like I'm not going there. And so nobody was walking into a store. But then when I walked in, he had everything, like a little supermarket. Literally, he had fruits and vegetables. He had anything you could think of. And I was like, bro, you have everything, and your prices are pretty good. Like, how are you not doing business, and why do you not have a sign? He's like, the owner won't let me. I was like, really? And I was like, well, screw the owner, bro. I got you. So I start taking photos from the outside, the corner. I do a walk in. I do pictures. And I was like, I'll see you in a week. Yeah. And he's like, okay. And I come back a week later, and he's like, oh, my God, bro, 15,000 views. I was like, what? I was like, I didn't even believe it. He's like, look, I show you. And he's like totally surprised, Indian, Pakistani owner, He's like, I can't keep the store open. I keep it booked. So many people come now. And I'm like, no way. And then I just looked, and it just hit 200,000 views. That's that awesome. One. So it's like, it's super cool that, just one person can make such a difference, dude, in someone's life. And so you're inspiring me, man, right now to like, that's a great idea.
And
to go around.
We're talking about inspiring things, because I'm gonna pull up my YouTube channel real quick. I want to touch on like my most memorable and inspiring episodes. The story of Chad Tate. That to this, all of my episodes, I love all the interviews I've done. I handpicked every single person to be on my show. But this one right here, let's see, this was episode 3. The story of Chad Tate. Really good friend of mine. I consider him like a mentor. Older white male. His story is he pledged Alpha in the University of South Florida in 1991. So for those of you guys who don't know what Alpha is an all-black fraternity. And he was the first white anything to pledge Alpha at the University of South Florida in 1991. And the reason why I wanted to do that story, number one, is very inspiring, very informative, right? But at that, we all know what's been going on with this world. There's no surprise. We're not going to hide, act like we don't know what it is. Black Lives Matter, police brutality. I don't care what side anybody stands on. But it was dividing the world, right? And that's what, let's keep it. That's what the whole media is meant for, to divide everyone. So I just knew with everything going on in the world, I knew his story needed to be heard, because I know there's people out there that needed to hear his story. So there's someone out in this world that's going through something in life that we have no clue about, that this story is going to inspire and change the outlook on the world, whether it's a white person, change the outlook on a black person, a black person, white, vice versa, whatever, right? Whatever race you are. So that was an amazing interview I did. Like I said, it was my 3rd episode, and my whole goal was to touch one person's life. And probably a month or 2 after I did that episode, someone commented on it. Thank you so much. I needed to hear this message. I needed to see this. It makes me look different. It makes me like have a different outlook, And you know what? My job is done. That's all I wanted. My job is done. You know what I mean? But I can't just say that's my only memorable one. Episode 6, Life After Baseball, the story of the former professional baseball player Cody Lingham, another good friend of mine. He wasn't one of those standout players in high school that was a high draft pick. You know what I mean? He was one of those feel-good stories, that he had to grind for it hard every day in and day out, And he ended up going pro, and I want to say the beginning of his 2nd year, he broke something. I forget what it was, and it ended his career. It was a career-ending injury, like 3-4 games into his 2nd year, 2nd season of being a professional. So once he had to retire, he opened up a baseball facility, like a training facility, a training camp. And now here we are years later, and he has his own baseball organization. He has like 7 or 8 teams. Oh, excuse me. He has like 7 or 8 teams. They travel all over the country. They call it the Dirtbags. So big shout out to the Dirtbags.
I think I've actually heard of them.
They're all over. They're all over. They were in Florida recently for this for some nationals. His son is amazing. They went to some all-star weekend for like all the greatest little leaguers in the country, and his son is hitting for the home run derby, hitting 400 plus bombers in home run derby, hitting big league bombers at 12 years old.
Wow.
That was another great episode. But man, there's so many artists.
You said you have 74 right now, so you're about to hit 74 episodes. You're shooting those.
I'm live. I'm live on all my episodes. Episodes.
What I mean by that is that you're up to number 74 right now.
Yeah. Today would be 74.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody went to your channel right now, there's 73 episodes that they can watch.
Yep.
Of all the different people, artists, businesses, entertainers that you've already interviewed. Sick.
On my YouTube channel, I have about 40. No, I say about 20 or 30 of them on my Facebook channel. Y'all can go follow me on Facebook also. But yeah, there's so many, man. So another memorable one I would say was with RL Bell. That was my first celebrity that gave me a shot. He became famous. He was on America's Got Talent and on The Voice. He got his big break at 54 years old in 2016.
Wow.
He made it to the Breakfast Cuts. Amazing dude. I was going to this event, and I heard he was going to be performing. It was a private event, and he does a bunch of covers, and so amazing voice. And I just happened to message. That's another piece of advice I want to give to people. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, no matter how small you are. You're just starting out. Do not be afraid. When I reached out to Mr. RL Bell, I had less than 50 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I was still only on YouTube. And I told him, hey, Mr. Arbel, this is what I do. I run a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you're going to be performing at this private event that I'm going to be at. I said, I would love to have you on a podcast and do an interview before you perform. Honestly, I didn't think he would get back to me. I didn't think he would get back to me at all. Not 5 minutes later, hey, Jay, what's up? Let's do it. You know what I mean? And, man, was I excited. I was super excited. And that was actually, I think, my second in-person interview. I do a lot of virtual interviews when I first started out. Now I do a lot of in-person interviews. But
so here's my question for you, Jay. Are you on at a certain time, or hey, I'm live, this is it, go?
Oh, no.
Like, because it seems like that seems to be the thing.
So before it would differ when I first started out, but now I'm live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time.
And that's like, even if you have to be at a location, you get to the location 2 hours before, blah 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 blah, set up the camera, blah blah. Okay. And you're a one camera setup when you do this thing, or do you have a team? And
I do have a one camera setup, but I do have a big team that supports me. I have a big I have a writer, that writes all my questions. So what I do, so my thing is, with me promoting whoever I'm promoting, I pre-write all my questions, and then I send it to them, and I let them know if there's any questions you're not comfortable with. Hey Jay, I'm not comfortable with this, and I'm gonna scratch it, and I have no problem with it. And in saying that, that's because number one, I pre-write the questions. It helps the show runs more smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, like I said, if an artist or whoever's not comfortable with it, we can get rid of it. And number three, with it helping the show run more smooth, if I was to just freestyle and ask you a question and you're not sure how to answer it, or if you mess up on your answer, that gives someone watching in the future, that gives them a chance to dictate what you meant, and they can dictate in a negative way. So we don't want all of that, right?
Right, of course not. Right.
So I do that. But yeah, I have my writer. I have my I guess you can say my, what would you call them?
Producer?
No, I basically do all that, but basically they basically tell me how I did, what I need to fix, how what was good
so
about it.
You're non yes man.
My critiquers.
Yeah, that's great, and you should have them, right? You should totally. It's great to have those people in your life who come in and go, "Yo, today was awesome, but here's this, and this that you could have done right, or you could have done better."
Yeah.
Where
and they don't hold back. They do not hold back.
Right. It wouldn't have made that moment awkward, or you wanted to talk over them and you stopped yourself, which was really good. Like last time you didn't, all of those things for sure. I watch myself at the end. It's sometimes not all the way through, because it's like 3 hours. I'm not going to watch myself, but I do watch to catch like what you're talking about. Like, am I here? Am I doing the right flow of things? And then going back to what you were saying about the writing of the questions, I love that concept. I send out a little message, and I posted everywhere as of lately, which is like, yo, like, do you want to be on my show? If you do, give me a bio, send me your links, and tell me what you want to talk about. I don't want to run this thing. Yeah. I just want to be here to talk to you. And then when I hear something, I go, oh, what do you think about that? Or ooh, because for me, and I love the free form of the live, but the more so that I love the inspiration that I get in the live. And granted, I'm sure I could get the same inspiration being filmed, but there's something here that when I see people jumping in, or I see a message coming in, something is happening there where I feel like, oh, we're moving together. It's a dance. Do you know what I mean? And so
I definitely agree because that's one thing. I interact with all live audience members. You know what I mean? It's a much better vibe, especially because we can record our episodes, But my thing is, like, if someone asks a question during the episode, I wouldn't be able to answer you right there and then. You know what I mean?
So right. Yes, exactly. Instead of going back to my feed and then answering the question 2 weeks later or a month later, and maybe things have changed by then or whatever, Yeah, I don't know what it is, but live feels more ethereal, I guess, more something like anything can happen and mistakes can happen. And I think that there's something there that says, you know, I don't know, there's a little bit more freedom. There's a little bit more nuance to the conversation that you get lost in when you're recording something and then editing and then shooting the view that you like better because it looks better from that angle or whatever. I don't know. There's something about this that makes it super and heavy and
I
yummy.
agree. I definitely agree.
So when I ask a question that I think is about to be whoa, and I talk over the edge a lot, right? So when I'm about to ask that question, I go, listen, I'm not sure you want to answer this, but how do you feel about, and it's almost like we said a moment ago, which was what was the joke? This pizza tastes like crap. You want some? You're just
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but you might, I just kind of, and you're like, no, nobody's going to like that pizza. It's not good. But you know what I mean? So with all of that, you also mentioned that you do like guest speaking. And I think what I'm really trying to get at this point of the conversation is it's not just one, call it funnel to you, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways that you're making financial gains through the use of the podcast, if you will.
Yes,
So, so if you wouldn't mind, for those now and in the future, how can they kind of like monetize themselves? Myself, I'm asking you almost, but how could you do that in the future? How are you doing that?
All right. So if you just sit back, if you want to sit back and wait till, like, if you're on YouTube, you got to have 1,000 subscribers, right? If you guys want to sit back and wait for that, go right ahead, be my guest. Me personally, not happening. YouTube is a whole different ball game. It's an app that's seen almost all over the world, right? So it's an algorithm thing. One day the algorithm works for you, 1 month the algorithm works for you, the next it's nothing, right? So I guess what I would say, it has a lot to do with what kind of channel you have, what are you promoting, what do you stand for? So with me doing artists and small business and basically trying to help the community, it brung different avenues my way. So my first was a partnership with a record label. Big shout outs to Low Rock Entertainment and Royal Mammoth Urban Outfitters. It's a record label and a clothing line. Hey, that's Chris Spice Knight. How you doing, Chris? That's one of my biggest followers and supporters.
I love what Chris said there. I don't know if you read the comment.
Live is a great time interacting, although autocorrect and slippery fingers are cool with sex. It's so true. She watches every single one of my episodes, like every single one. So big shout outs for real.
Huge shout out. Yeah, that's amazing. Because those are the people that really grassroots you, man. They're like they are your literal roots. And I've had a couple of those people in my life, man, and they're blessings, man. They really are. They found something or something in you that just ding, 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 hits all the right bells and all the right whistles, and they're like, and they're there, So yeah, big shout out to Chris for being so cool and following you and being supportive of your dream,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yes, it started with the record label Low Rock Entertainment and the clothing line Royal Mammoth Urban Outfitters. For them to take their chance with me, I promote their artists and their clothing line. When I was such a small timer, and I was literally still just on YouTube at the time. So it started there. People want to see proof of concept, right? So it started with that, and then I started doing guest appearances on other podcasts. And it wasn't like an interview like this. It's just like random talk and barbershop talk type of deal, just a bunch of us just sitting there. And then I think what really took it off for me, I went to this Father's Day event with Royal Mammoth Urban Outfitters and Low Rock Entertainment. And big shout out to Houston Rock on PSK 13, two Houston legends. You know, and when you show up to an event like that with a bunch of legends that there, and you show up with these legends, it speaks volumes. Now people want to know who you are, right? So once that happened, everything just started going fast. Like one after another, I'm getting celebrities on my podcast. I'm to the point where I'm charging for interviews now. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My podcast, I get plenty of donations. My last interview I did, what was my last? My last Friday, I did an interview with a gaming company. And I got a bunch of donations off of that. Yeah, it's just you gotta be open minded. You know, I started doing club promotions. We had a big event in July called Kicks and Cocktails. We had 8 artists perform. 5 of the 8 artists, my job was to find the artists for the show. So 5 of the 8 artists came from my podcast. So like I tell people, I'm not the biggest podcaster out here, but what I do speak volumes. I have a major backing. I have partnerships, and I have a lot of legends that watch my podcast. So in saying that, 5 of those artists performed at that big event. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I did a live podcast for 4.5 hours. It was amazing. We had a sneaker venue there. We had about 300 people show up.
Dope. Dope.
It was dope. So yeah, you just gotta be open. You gotta stay on the grind and really find other avenues. Because if you just have that one, if you're driving down the road, right, and there's different avenues you can take, knowing that they're gonna open up, and a lot of times these avenues aren't about money. It's about networking and building relationships. You know, because Chris just said networking is growth. Supporting network. Exactly.
Yep.
It's all about networking. So I've done a lot of things for free because I know it's about the networking and building relationships and building clientele. You know what I mean? So I also do a lot of interviews for free. You know,
right?
Because it's about building. You know, so yeah, just you got to be open to having the different avenues and being diverse and meeting with different people. And never be scared. Never be scared. Fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. It really is.
False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
The acronym.
I reach out to some A-list celebrities. Will they reach out to me? Probably not, but that's cool. But the fact that I reached out to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, listen. There's these two. This is a long time ago. I don't know how old you are, but back in the day when the internet was first kind of going out, there was a big thing where people were getting tattoos of logos of major companies on their body for money. It was being sold on eBay. This was a big eBay thing that happened.
I remember that. I
I even went out. I was like, I'll do it. Like, you know. Like, I'll do magic with your tattoo on me. Let's go. And so, you know, there's a million different ways that people will try to promote and do this, that, and the other. But in the end, one of the biggest like statements that I've heard is, don't try and be interesting, be interested. Like, be interested in the person, be interested in their story.
Yes.
It's not about you anymore, and it should have never been about you in the first place. Like, this whole story is not about you. You know, you're just getting to live in it. Yeah, exactly. So my next question is, like, when you do get to do like speaking events and that kind of thing, you're obviously probably charging for that at this point and all that other stuff. And there's kind of 2 points, and I'm bouncing in my own head. I was going to say the growth of a show can happen based on just it being a new, fun, crazy idea that nobody's done before, and then that'll make it take off. Like, for instance, the girl that just recently started her own podcast that just blew up called the Pretty Good Podcast.
You talking about that young white chick that's real awkward?
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
It totally
check
was.
this out. Check this out. That's a persona she puts on. She's not really like that.
I know. I've seen the Good Morning.
It's crazy. I like her.
It's very Mr. Bean if he could talk kind of ideology, you know?
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
It so works because, and now that people, it's almost like two ferns in between two ferns, but like a real version of it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and it works. And like, man, she went, I think, $25,000 or $30,000 in debt on 2 or 3 credit cards.
Yeah. I seen that. I seen that interview. I seen that. Yep.
So you can, and that was her first or second episode that like went from like nobody to like, and now she has ACA and she's got agents and blah 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 blah.
I applaud that. I applaud that because she wasn't, like you said, it was her second episode and she's already $20,000 in debt. That means she was not scared to invest in herself and take a chance in herself. And that's what you gotta do. I sponsor my own episodes. Because I know where I'm going. And motivational speaking, you know what I mean? I speak with troubled youth and teens, you know what I mean? I love it, you know what I mean? I was a troubled youth and teen myself. I was a troubled adult, you know? And so I changed my life around. Like I tell people all the time, the man you guys see in front of me is not the man I've always been, you know what I mean? I had a troubled background. So yeah, for her to take a chance on herself and say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, yo, congrats to that. You know, I applaud that. You know what I mean? She gets a lot of backfire for it, but I love it. I love her podcast. She's weird, you know, but like I said, it's a persona and it works.
Right.
It's marketing. It's all about marketing. You know,
100%.
And she figured it out. She figured it out, and I love it.
And I think that's it. And that's what I'm trying to get at with you as well as myself. Your voice is indicative, just like for Chris is for you, is indicative for somebody. Like it does something for somebody else out there. Your voice in particular does something, you know what I mean? That is the right juice for somebody else. Join us in creating excitement. To throw another, you know, it's the same thing. And I thank you for what you just said. She's like, you two are awesome.
Yeah,
I love this interaction. You two are having incredible networking at its finest. I love you, Chris. Thank you so much for that. And that's exactly what this was for me. And I've said this in other prior episodes that I'll be on the phone with somebody and I'll be like, da 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 da, boom, 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 and all these things are being thrown back and forth in this energy. And then somewhere in the conversation we go, should have recorded this, man. And then I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm not going to let that happen ever again. And from now on, I'm going to set up these conversations. And on some level, I'm a little bit different than you are in the sense that I kind of don't want to know too much. Like I want to know you like I did with you today, almost that amount of time.
Yeah.
Almost like I'm a psychic performer and I'm going to come in and I'm going to tell you something. You know, one of those guys, like I don't want to know anything about them. One in the background, the producer's like, okay, his name's John. He's 37 years old. His sister's cousin has just passed away. It starts with an L. And I saw one of these recently, bro, and it really destroyed me. To talk about like the use of manipulation and authority in the most negative connotational way is this kind of story. So the guy comes in and it's taxi cab psychic or something like that, okay? Like, you know, like they used to have that taxi cab where you came in, it was a game show. You remember that one? It was in New York, and the lights would light up on the roof and everything.
Yeah, I know you're talking about,
and the guy was a stand-up comedian, phenomenal stand-up comedian as well. Yeah. Anyways,
I know you told me. I can't remember the name, but yeah, you said every time they got the question right, the lights go crazy in the back seat. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man, what is it? I can't remember the name of it, but it was an old school show. I definitely remember that. All
right, so it was that kind of idea, but instead psychic, right? So the guy comes in, and he sits down, and the psychic's like, "Oh well, just between you and me, I'm a psychic." And the guy's like, "All right, I don't believe in it. I'm a preacher." And this is what really kind of, right? So if you know anything about television production, you do not walk onto set without the people knowing who you are. Period. There is no such thing as, like, it just happens and we filmed it. Oh, wow. What great television we were able to catch. Like, And anybody who believes that, you know, is like, what? Where are you? You know, like reality television is definitely not reality in any way, shape, or form. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you know, and so they know who the guy is, basically. And so with a quick internet search on the guy, because he's a preacher, you can find out a lot of information, specifically family information, and this, that, and the other. And this guy goes off and does a whole thing about somebody who just passed away and family member, female. And this older gentleman, you can see that there's this edge on him where he doesn't want to accept what he's hearing, but at the same time, he's emotional because it's a fresh wound. Get what I'm saying, man? And so I'm catching, it's like a dual reality effect in magic where the audience is seeing one thing, but me and the person on stage are having a totally different conversation where the people on say in the audience have no idea what's going on. And that's just because I'm tapping the person or I'm doing something behind the scenes that the audience doesn't see. And so then they get a reality of one thing, and then the people in the audience get a reality of something else. And they see one thing, and the person in the the person on stage totally is not feeling or seeing any of that. But the audience is like, whoa, how is the magician getting that person to do that? You know, you get what I'm saying? And it's the same thing in this thing where the editing is so just heavily edited that you're like, dude, this guy's crying over some emotional information that you're talking about, not the fact that you're a psychic, you know. And the fact that you're using that to sell your TV show is just nasty.
Ulterior motives, and that's why that goes back to why I said that's why I pre-write my questions, because a lot of podcast shows, a lot of radio stations, they just wing it. And there's ulterior motives to it. Like I had an artist, big shout out to Yasmin Nicole, amazing artist out of Houston. Me personally, one of the probably the best female hip hop artists out. Like up and coming artist. She's a lyrical genius. But in saying that, she messaged me and said, you're not gonna ask me about none of my beef or anything I have or people like that. I said, no, not at all. I said, I'm actually about to send you the set of questions I have, you know what I mean? But she basically getting there like, you're not gonna, nothing to start no mess or anything that's good for content, you know? Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's about supporting them and promoting them 100% and making them look good to the fullest.
Right.
Because there's no ulterior motive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So me initially from like the get-go, there's no thing inside of me that's like, I'm out to get you. It's more like a little kid who's like 8 years old, you know, and he's getting to meet the guy for the first time, or even like because I watched some of your stuff within the, hour prior to getting to you. Of course, just catch as much as you can, little clip, little thing, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get the vibe, I get the thing. Because you want to do that. And in doing so, we all create an imaginary, fictional celebrity in our mind. You know what I mean? So I have that walking in already. Even with just like your photo and the fact that you're telling me all the things that you're doing in the bio, I'm already walking in like a little kid going, oh, dude, I'm getting to meet Jay Reckless, dude. This is cool. Like, let's go.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Christian said Jay Reckless has a very incredible way about interviewing. The podcast is awesome. I truly appreciate that, Chris. It's funny you said that. Go ahead.
No, you say what you were going to say. It's funny that you said what?
It's funny you said that because I was at this burger joint and it's a few months ago, and I pull up to the window and I drive like an hour to this spot. Amazing burgers, right? It's called Basis. Big shout out to Basis in Texas City, Texas. And I pull up to the speaker.
I want to cut you off real quick. I want to just say this. I love the fact that every single time you've promoted the name of the company, their address, I love you for that.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. That's why I started this. That's what it's about. Definitely, I appreciate that.
So
Definitely.
cool. So cool.
I pull up to the little speaker to order, and she was like, "Welcome to the Basis. We only have string beans," and she mentioned another vegetable. She's like, "That's all we have left." I said, "I didn't drive no hour for those string beans. I want a burger." And she was like, "No, I'm just playing." So I put my order in. I come to the window, And she goes, you really drive an hour here? I said, yeah. I said, I'm like, this place is really good. She says, why? But like the way she was asked, like, why would you do that? I'm like, why not? Hold on. I said, you work here. Is there something you know about this place that I don't know that I need to know? So I don't have to drive here no more? Cause I said, this is bad promotion right now.
Are they,
And she was like, no.
are they putting some drugs in this shit that I don't know about? That's why I'm coming in
For
office.
real. And she was like, no. She's like, I don't eat meat. I'm a vegetarian. So in saying that, you know, me being the promoter I am, I'm like, oh, so when I went there 2 days prior, I did an episode on Reckless Reviews on Nesto's Plant-Based Burgers. Big shout out to Nesto's Plant-Based Burgers in Houston, Texas. So I was like, perfect time to promote. I said, well, hey, check out my podcast. You know, I did an episode on Nesto's Plant-Based Burgers 2 days ago. If you're not into meat, it's a perfect episode for you to get into. Excuse me. She said, are you famous? I said, no, but I will be one day. And I'm just joking around, you know. I'm just joking. And her coworker hears our conversation. He runs over to the window and he goes, hold on, you're Jay Reckless. He said, I follow you on Facebook and on YouTube. He said, I just watched your burger review the other day. This was like 2 months ago.
That is like, you know, yeah. That's like one of those things where it's just like so I was, to give you that one, and this is why this started again, because of the 365, the 2 years that I did.
Yeah.
Mind you, if you want to look me up, I have stuff from 20 years ago on the internet. And it was called On the Way, on the Road and in the Waves was the name of my first podcast 20 years ago.
Okay.
So and I've had a bunch of them here and there, and I've done tons of content, and I've done all kinds of weird content and artistic content. I mean, I have one video that's still on. How it's still on Facebook, I don't know, but it literally starts off with me with a swastika on my forehead, me looking straight into the camera, going, "I'm a white supremacist. I had to do this," you know. And then I'm in blackface, the next one, white lips, full on, you know, and I'm like, I'm African American, I had to do this. And the next one, I'm in front of a woman's bathroom, and I'm like, I'm a woman, I had to do it. I walk into the woman's bathroom. You know, you get what I'm doing at that point, right?
Yeah.
And it's still up. The thing that's crazy to me is that it's still, people have captioned just the one part, just the video, like the one, I'm a white supremacist, and they've sent it to me. We know who you really are. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
Yo, it's great, dude. I did dump on Trump 4 days after he was president. I went and got a toilet given to me for free by a plumbing company 2 blocks away from the Hollywood Boulevard. The guy literally was like, what, you're going to do what? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go sit on a toilet at the Hollywood Walk of Fame where Trump's toilet is. And I'm going to pull my pants down. I'm going to sit on a toilet in the middle of the street with a sign that says dump on Trump. Hashtag dump on Trump.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Just have some fun with it, you know.
Oh yeah, so the whole kid situation with the at the fast food restaurant. You know, when I started this journey, it was never to become famous, never to get on the radio, you know, and it's still not about that, but it came with it, you know, because I've always been that person. Since I was a kid, I always like to see people win. I like to see people be successful, especially my people, you know. So, and I've always I always promote my people, you know. I'm that person. Like, I get joy in seeing other people win, you know. So, that's why I started this journey. And like I said, the radio station came with it, and how that came about, I put myself out there, you know. I made a post on Facebook, and I said something along the lines like, I'm ready to take it to the next level. I want to get into the radio business. Who wants to give me a shot? And when I say that post blew the fuck up, man, that post blew up, and people were tagging people, and people were like, let's do it. Like, go for the sky's the limit, blah blah blah, and get encouraging comments. And somebody tagged Mr. Malcolm. I want to say it was Bobby Bless. It was either Bobby Bless. Big shout out to Bobby Bless, another artist I did based out of Houston. Also, it was either Bobby Bless or Rob V, another artist from Houston. Also, big shout out to both of them. Both been on my podcast. I think it was Rob V actually that tagged Mr. Malcolm. He's the owner of Real Talk 100 Radio, and he tagged him. He said he messaged me or sent a comment or something, and then I had an episode later that night, and he commented. Mr. Malcolm commented in the comments and said, "This is Real Talk 100 Radio approved." So I'm like, all right, bet, awesome, right? So I said I'll definitely be in contact. I called him the next day or two. We talked for like 45 minutes. I ended up going to the radio station that night to talk, that evening to talk with him. I got there about 4. We talked to probably about 8 o'clock, just vibing, you know. Awesome dude. And then he had a show he had to get ready for. Big shout out to my guy Zulu, man. Y'all catch him on Real Talk 100 Radio. He got an amazing show. I love what he got going. I love what he stands for. So he was getting ready for Zulu's show, and I asked him, I said, "Is it cool if I chill and just sit in on the show?" And when I say sit in, I mean like in the background watching to get a feel of this, because this is new territory, right? So he was like, "I'm cool with it. Let me call him to make sure he's cool with it because he's the host." I'm like, "All right, no problem." So he calls him and he was like, "Hey, I got Jay Reckless here. He wants to co-host your show tonight." and I'm saying to myself, that is not what I said at all. That is not what I said. Well, let's do it, right?
That's hilarious.
Let's go for it.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious, man. He's like, that's not what I said, bro.
So it was cool, man. So it's all about putting yourself out there, you know, and if people going to jump for it, people not. And to be honest, when I made that post, that's because I know people in the radio industry, right? And that was me hoping, to be 100% honest, that was me hoping for them to be like, "Hey, Jay, let's talk," you know? And none of those people I know reached out to me. And they liked the post. They hearted it. They liked it. They carried it, whatever. They reacted to it. Some of them even commented on it. Hey, go for it. Good job, you know? Praying for you. But it's like, damn, none of y'all reached out to me, but you're acknowledging it. So what I realized, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt my feelings at first. I can't even lie, it really hurt my feelings. But what I realized,
but it shouldn't though. You know, it's like I just recently, but what was it, like a post that I saw? It's like it's on TikTok and it's some guy in the background and he's talking about how, you know, if you're gonna go out and buy a Gucci or a Prada or this or that, the other, why don't you go buy and spend money on your boy who just started up his podcast, or the guy who just down the street who's like doing pressure washing and needs business, you know, but you'll buy Gucci, you'll buy Nike, but you won't go buy Jimmy or Susan.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, what's up with that, bro? You know, I totally understand what you're saying. You're right, you know. And it's also something that may not be known by a lot of people, but the small businesses of America are what actually run America. It's not the big business. I mean, they support a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's the small businesses that have 30, 20, 30 years in the industry, or that they've been there forever, that, you know, that's America. That's like the, you know, the mom and pop shops, the restaurants, the news organizations. I remember newspaper like places in my old town that was super run by a family, you know what I mean? Like, it was like a, you know, Clear Lake Gazette or something, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know, you know? So it's like, it's funny. We're in such a weird space nowadays, you know what I mean? In the sense of like what we know and what we don't know. Like Snopes was like picture of a woman and it said, you know, saving my aluminum foil and my oil from my pork or whatever it was, for my bacon, and it says Snopes has checked that this is not real. And then there's like a million comments underneath that's like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about, but I still save my aluminum foil. B, I still hang out with my oil. You know, like, here's the pictures. You know, like, so I don't know where the Snopes is getting its info from, but something wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And going back really quickly to being inspired by being seen in some way, shape, or form. So I was at this thing a couple weeks ago. And I've been going through like this weird turmoil-ish thing for like 7 years, right? And then added on, sprinkled on with like some salsa and peppermint with this girl that I had a thing with. There was, and that was, anyways. The point being is that I'm at this thing, and I know nobody except for one person who took me, and there's like 1,000 people at this thing. Private party, private invite only. I'm sitting at a table, and I'm eating, and this woman sits down. She goes, "You're Paul Carpenter." And I was like, okay, this is about to turn weird, right? Real quick, right? She's like, so, okay, I know this is going to sound weird, but 4 or 5 years ago, you called me on the phone because my friend Jody, the guy who invited me to the party, so I'm like, oh, okay, there's a connection, you know. She goes, you talked to me for like 2 hours about marketing and promotions, all these things. And then after that, I just started watching your live feed for like 2 years straight. And you don't do your live feed anymore. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm like, you're right. And she's like, and I just wanted to let you know, just from me to you, that your energy, your thing, your servitude, call it, if you will, changed my life. And I was like, whoa. And she's like, you got me to like open up and do more things with my business. And like, you got me just something about you, bro. And she's like, and I wish you would do those videos again. And so like on the second video, I tagged her and I was like, start it up. You better start watching, lady. You know,
Yeah.
like, and she was so thankful for the fact that I had in some way, shape, or form been inspired by her. You know what I mean? To kind of start up again and do this again. Except on this it's a very different path. It's not what I was doing before, because what I was doing before would be like a thought of the day that could go for 30 minutes or an hour, but it was never this, where I'm getting to interact with one person for whatever amount of time and get real, what I call real conversations. It's not like, what happened with the Kardashians this week? You know what I mean? It's like, instead it's like, yo, what got you to do your thing, and how did you get inspired, and you know, that right there, that breath, that the catch, call it the catch, the breath that make you oh man, oh, you got me, bro. That could be a good joke, that could be a good moment, that could be a good kiss, that could be a piece of food. And it's exactly what you're talking about, you know? So I'm telling you, bro, you've inspired me on so many different levels today. And I'm so happy, because that's what this is meant to be, not just for everyone else, but for me as well. Like, I want to walk in sans none almost, like I was saying, and like get something out of it. And as I get something out of it, so does my audience. And we go on this journey together through this conversation. And many times, you know, it's going to be people I know already. And I think we met once before in Houston a while back. And it was through Shots by Esco. You know Escobar? Oh, man. And if it wasn't through that, then it would have been, because I did a music video. It's like the only thing, like closest thing to the rap scene kind of thing that you might have been in prior to this, or you know what I mean? Because you just started 7 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been like somewhere around Scalp Bar. And if not, and if not, I shot
Tiki Bar
at this
next
house.
to Scalp Bar.
Huh?
Tiki Bar right next to Scalp Bar?
Scalp Bar, a Tiki Bar next to Scalp Bar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe there.
That's possible.
So I mean, I did magic, and I would always walk around and do magic everywhere. So I'm sure that's how we met. Because I obviously don't have people like, I think the 4,000 or whatever amount of followers and whatever friends that I have are literally mostly people I've actually met in life. Like,
Yeah.
It's very rare that I have a person I don't know on my Facebook.
Yeah,
You
my
know what I
last event was at the Tiki Bar in July. So that possibly could have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in Miami for the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And I think you and I have been friends longer than that. So
Possibly.
because we're actually friends on Facebook.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
that's why I'm saying I think we've known each other. And if not, then it was in the last 2 years when I was in the NFT game and I was jumping from thing to thing and people to people and promoting, and maybe somehow or another we bumped into each other like that. But it's definitely a Houston connect from Houston myself. So I was born and raised there. This background noise, love it.
No, you're good. It doesn't bother me.
It's live.
Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, so let's kind of coalesce and bring it back together. Getting noticed isn't really the thing, right? Like, oh, you're famous. That's not the idea. It's not about the money. So what it ends up being is like the ultimate story or the ultimate thing that I hear when you read all the books from, Think and Grow Rich, 48 Laws of Power, this, that, and the other, all of those, How to Win Friends and Influence People, all of those. The end result is even if you had billions of dollars in your life and you even had just a little extra money and you've already taken care of your family, friends, and everybody else and done all the things you wanted to do, what would you do with that little extra bit of money? And you're like, oh, I'd give it away to this person. That's your real goal in life. And so,
here's my thing.
Because I said that earlier, it's not about you, it's about everyone else.
Exactly.
And so as long as you can start making your thing about everyone else, then everyone else will want to join your thing because they'll want to be part of your thing.
So my thing is, I'm living my dream, right? So my dream is to help other people. So I'm living my dream. So to be able to help people reach their dream, it's amazing. It's amazing. And one thing about me, like I said, it's not about just having you on my show and that's it. I go see the artists perform live. Big shout out to Cricket Moon and the Tribe. We all went to go see Emily Glazer's. I had Cricket Moon on the show. I had Cricket Moon on the show. That was the first episode where I had a live audience. Oh my goodness, it's a little off topic. It was amazing. It was like a Cypress Hill concert, #1. It was crazy. She had the whole tribe with her. Big shout out to Terry and everybody, man. Had a live audience, everybody going crazy, screaming, clapping, applauding. It was awesome vibe. So she put me on the Cricket Moon. Cricket Moon put me on to Emily Glazer. She's an international superstar. Big shout outs to her. Amazing interview I did with her. So for her birthday, we all went and surprised her. She was performing on her birthday. We all went and surprised her. We got cake and everything, balloons, and you know what I mean. So I build relationships with these people that I have on my show, and that's because, like I mentioned earlier, I handpick every single one of them. That's because I truly believe in what they got going. You know what I mean? I truly believe in what they stand for. So I'm not just gonna sit here and promote you and then bye. Almost every artist that's been on my podcast that done collab together, done make music together, done something together. You know what I mean? And it's all about everybody growing.
And that's something, so I don't mean to cut you off, but that's something that also kind of like is like really intriguing to me, to be able to go live, to be able to get really good artists and people who you like handpicked, if you will. Because like I don't feel like I'm handpicking anybody. I feel like I'm just like, who wants to be on? And granted, they're my friends, so they're going to be like super interesting weirdo people that I've met along the way. So yeah, I'm not afraid here. And like you're one of those people, obviously, who has an awesomely beautiful story. And I want to pull way back into this for a second. And you said, I'm not the person that I used to be, that you see in front of me, and I'm a changed person, and I've heard this so many times in my life. But what I want, if you don't mind, if you could you describe how the passion or finding the right thing, if you will, was the thing that made everything else melt away and disappear. And then if you know what I mean by that, because at least that's how I feel whenever I find the directive, then all the other issues and problems that I thought were there kind of just go. So if you wouldn't mind expressing your story on that version of things.
All right, so I like that question. So for me, so here's a little background. I grew up in the streets. You know what I mean? I had anger issues. I like to fight. You know what I mean? I was known for just walking up to people and hitting them. You know, it was bad. It was bad. So for me, I'm passionate about everything I do. You know, whether it's conversing with somebody, whatever it is in life. I used to coach Little League football. That was a passion of mine for a long time. And to see my son playing football and doing his thing, I love it. But I'm passionate about everything I do, but I have a short attention span. A very short attention span. So a lot of things I was passionate about, I would start and then just forget about it. You know what I mean? So
Did you say that you don't forget about it, or
I would start and then just forget about it. Go on about
you
something
do forget
else.
About it, like it's just gone.
My attention span is like, you know what? I had fun with that for the moment. You know, it would be more of like in the moment passion. You know,
right?
So
right, no, right. But do you not feel that I call them deep dives. Like I do the same thing you're talking about.
That's a good way. That's actually perfect. Deep dive into something.
That's the people in the kiddie pool, and here, that's the 70-foot jump. Cool, I'm out, bro. I'll see you later, bro.
Yeah.
You know, into the, I'm broken bones. It's hurting, but I was like, yo, but I did it, and you guys are still in the kiddie pool, so I'm done. I'll leave you guys later. Whenever you want to jump from the 70, let me know. I'll jump with you again. Broken bones or not, I don't care. I get it. So go ahead.
Yeah, so that's exactly. I'm glad you said it, because that's exactly the perfect way to explain it. So, well, my other passion is helping people reach their goals and dreams, and helping and promoting and being successful. You know, my podcast started off as a hobby, right? And I was still passionate about it when I first started, but as I kept going and I kept helping people and seeing the response in helping people, it just fueled that fire even more. And it's like my hobby turned into my career, turned into a business. You know what I mean? And so like I know this will be something I'm not just gonna stop and it's not a deep dive like you said, right? So this is something I'm truly passionate about, and I see myself doing for a very long time, for years to come. But I tell people I'm just getting started. I've done so much, and I'm just getting started. So yeah. I guess just to answer your question, man, this podcast, and my kids, my kids is what drives me and what gives me this passion. My daughter.
You say that, and no offense to anyone out there, but in the world that we're living in, it seems like many times men don't take that approach in today's world. Like, not my problem anymore, kind of thing. Instead of, or you get the other approach, which is, oh, that's too heavy for me to handle approach. And then they end up being really depressed and going down a totally different rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Where other people have said to me, oh, you should have a child because it will, like, it'll make you go. Like, you don't have a choice at that point. So, like, I can see what you mean by that. Like, your children, like, it snaps. There's something inside of you that snaps. I've heard as a parent, like you're just like, whoop, and okay.
Yeah.
Because there is no, that's the last thing you want to listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Straight.
And,
Yeah,
my kids, man, they're my life. My youngest daughter, she's on a few of my shows. She's become a little superstar herself. She does my breakfast reviews. She does the food reviews with me and stuff. So I love it. Man, I'm like I said, I'm living my dream, man, and I love it.
Well, look, Jay, man, I'm gonna tie it up, but first of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and being on and hanging out with me, because that was a blessing. I'm hoping that this
you, brother. I really
will
do.
give people like an insight on who you are, and they'll get to stay on the internet, so that when you are like you get even bigger than you already are, people can be like, yo, who is that guy? And then they get to watch this video, which would be That's a banger for me. I love it.
Definitely.
And so, you know, and it goes back to this curiosity that I had when I was 12 years old. And I'm just going to leave you with this story just to, because I don't know why. I just want you to know me a little bit better. But I was reading Popular Mechanics at 12. And you too, Chris. Have a beautiful day.
Okay, Chris.
And I saw this guy who created the flying car. And his name was Paul Moeller. And I called him at 12 years old and spoke to him about his cars. And I wrote a whole like article for school and everything, and 20 years later, I called the guy and he still remembered me. And it's up to what you're talking about right now, which is like, don't be scared to make the phone call. Don't be scared to write the email 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, 11th, 12th. These people are busy, bro. A. B, they've got their own lives. C, they don't know who you are. And if you have to reach out 4 or 5 times or get more involved in their community to go find a meet and greet, to then send them a message or to even write to their management and say, hey, this is me, and here's my management, and that's your management. Can we talk so we could do an interview? Because I would love to do. I'm sure that's what this girl did that we were talking about with her weirdo character.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what she did, and that's probably how she got into debt. She paid somebody $10,000 to be on her podcast, or $20,000. Said, "Will you do my podcast? I'm a nobody, but here's $20,000." The guy was like, "Yeah, screw it, I'll do it."
I'm pretty positive. I'm about 99% positive that's what happened. Because I reached out to some big name celebrities and they reached back to me and wanted to charge me an arm and a leg. Like what's his name? Oh my goodness.
Don't do names. Don't do names. Don't do names.
Okay, well I reached out to a celebrity and he wanted to charge me $8,000.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, look, if you think about it, right? Almost any C/D list celebrity will do Cameo. B-list celebrities will do Cameo for $250 for 1 minute. So if you're like, yo, dude, I'll give you $1,000, you come and do my podcast, and they're bored that day because they're on vacation or they have a nothing going on day or they're sitting around anyways, like, screw it, I'll take $1,000 to hang out with this kid who I don't know, who I can help make them famous. Sure, why not? All right, let's go for it, buddy.
And you know what? Yeah, I'm glad you said it. There's a dark side to that too. And this is speaking from personal experience. I'm not gonna say his name. I won't call him out. But I reached out to an artist and he charged me to do an interview. It's the first interview I ever paid for, right? And I'm stoked about it. You know, it's a really big person, and I paid him to do the interview. But it's like basically what I'm getting at. If you're gonna pay someone to interview them on your platform, make sure they actually care about what you got going on. Because let's just say it was lackluster and lazy. I can't hear you. You might.
Then it could be like one of those interviews where they're there just to be there, and then it doesn't feel like what we've done so far. I feel we've done so far where it's genuine, and you're like, yeah, ooh, yeah, and you're going back and forth. It's like batting the ball, you know? Totally. And then it's like, so how do you feel about this? It's good, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Really,
like no promotion on their end, no nothing. And my thing is, I know how they promote. I see when they go on other people's podcasts, they promote it. They want to be there. And for me not to even get one promotional post, not nothing. You know what I mean? It said a lot to me. Like, this person really don't care about what I got going on. It was something for him to get paid real quick, and it is what it is. It was a lesson learned for me. You know what I mean?
On some level, it's a business too, and you might think that those pods might, and I'm not saying they do or they don't, but in the background, there's people who run the accounts and they do this, that, and the other, and there's the side deal. Hey, if you do this, we'll put this, and hey, you've got the Prime energy drink, and we've got this, so please don't bring your Prime. For how the brothers were having a fight about, oh, you brought Prime to my fight at the bogus Boo event. He's like, dude, get the fuck out of here. You were wearing your WWE costume. He's like, come on, man. What the fuck's wrong with you, bro? If anything, I'm bringing you WWE customers plus Prime customers. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like, we should all collab and be happy that we're in the same room together. But then again, it's a business, and there's the side of it where the lawyers are like, no, we want this much screen time for this drink because this much amount of money is being spent, and so on and so forth. And so you have to, on some level, get it there as well. And it's like, it's a dance. Like, it's a dance. Whether you want to be in it or not, it's a dance. And goes back to what we were saying. We're either going to be either creators or consumers, and you're obviously on the journey of being a creator of yourself, really, right? Through all these people that you're meeting and all these things that you're doing. And it's like, what a journey you're on, bro. What a great awesome journey to be, like you said, where you came from, and on some level you feel as though you come from a negative space. But I've come to this weird understanding lately that, and it's weird to really understand this, but it's all happening the way it's supposed to happen.
Yep.
Like, on a weird trippy level, bro. Like, acceptance of all of it. Like, even the beep, beep, beep in the background, acceptance of all of it. Like, it's all good. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's like, and if we can come from that point of view, then the amount of production really shouldn't matter. What should matter is, can we hear your voice? Can you hear my voice? And is the vibration of what we're trying to accomplish being done? And that goes back to the beginning of, it doesn't have to be perfect, just do it. And that goes back to connecting all the dots, right? Because I love doing this at the end of my episodes. And it also goes back to the beginning of what you said, which was, I was nervous, but I did it anyways. I pushed record. I just started. And it goes back to, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Just be you. Be real. Don't try and create like a character unless you want to be a character like this girl that we talked about, which is cool too. Because maybe that's a way of like safety netting your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think even in the last episode she did with Shaquille O'Neal, and he's like, I'm your uncle, I'm their uncle. And she's like, he was great in it because he gets it, right? I'm like, yeah, you are, buddy. Yeah, you are. Like, he gets it, And I love the way he made her awkward. It felt awkward and did like just little jokes. It was great. It was great stuff. It was great banter.
That was a good interview. I seen that one. That was a good interview.
Yeah. But she even says at one point, when he says, oh, I'm their uncle, what's their names? She goes, oh, yo, I don't really go there. I don't really put that part of my life in here. And it's so apparent that she's using the character as a way to shield herself from the world.
Yep.
Which is a really smart move on some level, right? Because then you, like, I don't know how Keanu Reeves does it. I don't understand that. I don't know if it's like some kind of weird meditation that he's doing or something. I don't know, bro. I'm not kidding. Because that guy rides on a motorcycle by himself, chilling. Nobody bothers him. Nobody's like behind him, following him like 90 miles an hour, like the queen or the princess of England, right? Nobody's doing that to him. Nobody's honking their horn, filming him like, yo, Keanu. Nobody's doing it. I don't see videos, and that would be on a TikTok. That would be, nobody does that. Instead, it's sad Keanu, where he's by himself.
You know what? And I think I know why, but we're definitely not going to touch on that.
oh, really? And
I'd rather not touch on that.
No, I don't. That's a heavy subject if we're going in that direction. Right, I got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, it's still cool to see. And there's something very, very cool about an artist that just wants to be the artist. and doesn't want their social interactions to be part of their life, i.e. Kardashians, every moment, every second, put it out. Hey, I'm getting new plastic surgery. Come with me on the plastic surgery journey. It's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know what it is? Well, a lot of these artists and movie stars, they really don't want the fame that comes with it. They want to be able to live that normal life, and a lot of them can't. And like you said, with Keanu Reeves, luckily he can. You know what I mean? But he can go out and not have to worry about paparazzi and people bothering him. He can sit down and have a meal. And you have other celebrities where you can't even walk out your front door without paparazzi being ready for you. You know what I mean?
and then going back to saying, but Keanu Reeves can. And there are other artists that are at the level of Keanu Reeves that weirdly have the ability to just live their life. Look, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, when they lived in New Orleans, bro, Brad Pitt would walk around nonchalant, not caring. He'd ride around on his motorcycle. There was a bar that he went to all the time. When I was an apprentice with Harry Anderson, the guy who used to be the judge from Night Court, and I apprenticed with him for 3 months in New Orleans before Katrina. I mean, he might not be that ultra famous, but he's also kind of indistinguishable as who he is as a person. Like, you know that character. And he did not play down the character. He always played it. So it wasn't like, so you know what I mean? It's like, and I've hung out with other people like Matthew Silver, who's the guy who does, I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah.
Wears a woman's leotard outfit and then hangs out with a chicken and says, love your fart, and runs around. And I've done street art with him, where I wore a cape and red underwear and ran around with a sword that says love, it's my love sword. And so but my point to that is that I've hung out with him and it's been intense, bro. I mean, intense. You're walking down the streets and people are like, oh my God, it's him. And you're like, dude, this is the guy, a YouTube character in New York on Times Square, hangs out with a freaking chicken, bro. Like, relax. But they're like, and I don't mean kind of like that. I mean like that. Like, it's Jesus, kind of. Bro, and people will walk up to him, and this is great, because he's not in character, right? He's just wearing regular clothes. He just has the full hair and the beard, which is, And people will be like, oh, my God, are you him? Are you Matthew Silver? And he's like, who's Matthew Silver? Oh, my God, he's fucking he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. He's fucking with me. Love your fart, right? And they'll make all the noises and do all this stuff, and he is full on, like, or he'll play the full on character of be like, dude, no, like, I'm sorry, I'm just with my friends. I'm have a good day, and he'll walk away. Like, he'll do that bit, so it's really good to get to know him on a real level, because there is an absolute artist there. As crazy as you might think the man is, when you sit down and you have the approach of where he's coming from, it's the same exact thing we're trying to talk about. Like, his art is feed me, I feed it to you. Feed me, I feed you, in the most kind of insane way. You know what I mean? All right, so let's end this because I need to go. I'm sure you need to go. World needs to keep moving. Jay, if you would not mind, how do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you? I know I'm already tagging all of this, but, all of your Instagrams and whatever else you might want to tell the world.
On Instagram, you can find me on Instagram, Reckless Talk 718 on Instagram. My YouTube channel is the Reckless Talk Podcast. All one word, capital, is going to be THA, Reckless Talk Podcast. On Facebook, you can follow me on Jay Reckless on Facebook. And if you ever want to book an episode with me, you can either send me a message on Facebook through Facebook Messenger or through my email, recklesstalk718@gmail.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Jay, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really, truly appreciate you. I'll kick you out and I'll end the show. But once again, super blessings. And I really am very thankful that I got to be your first interview ever. That really was dope. And I had a great time. I hope you did too.
I definitely had a great time. I appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out to me. And everybody out there, remember one thing, man. Success is a journey, not a destination. All right,
Yes,
brother.
100%. 100%. Again, man, thank you so much. And we'll see you soon, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Mind blown again. Daily. Hello. I don't know what else to say, but please go out of the world, do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't do something nice for yourself, it does start with you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff that's going on in this world, because if you do, you just end up crazy, and that's not good. And number 3, if you would not mind, please like, share, subscribe, send this out to somebody who'd like to see it, somebody who'd like to see this information with that gentleman and all the stuff that we talked about. Please go find Jay's information. Go watch all of the videos that he's done and all of the stuff that he's coming up with. I'm excited to go eat up all the other content that I haven't seen yet. And with that, my friends, I love you all so very much. I really do. Thank you for being here, and I will see you all on the other side.